Alrighty, welcome to episode 147 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla has slashed the prices of its cars being sold into Australia. From the 1st of July, the base prices for its entire range have uniformly dropped by $3,900. A crucial consequence of this price reduction is that every standard Model Y with any one option selected now qualifies for the $3,500 Western Australian Government EV rebate. This means that the effective price of these cars has reduced by over $7,000. Tesla has comprehensively beaten company-compiled analysts' expectations and produced a record 479,700 cars in Q2 and delivered over 466,000 cars, more than 19,000 in excess of that expected. Tesla is hiring Western Australian test drivers to collect FSD beta driving data on a rotating 3-shift 24-hour basis. With an expected contract period of 3 months, it is possible that Tesla is planning to release FSD to Australian owners as soon as later this year. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and welcome everyone to another episode of Ask Us Anything. Alrighty, as is customary, if there's anyone who is new and would like to introduce themselves, please do so now.
G'day guys, my name's Steve. Picked up a Model Y last week, long range, and I've got a few questions I'd love to run past the experts.
Very good. Congratulations and welcome, Steve, on your awesome new purchase.
And a great name.
Even if Steve says so, not himself, but his other brother, Steve. I guess we obviously saw in the news the big price reduction, and maybe at this early part of the program, which most people on YouTube do watch. Oh, sorry, actually, is there anyone else that would like to introduce themselves if they are new after unmuting yourself? Or not, that's okay too. Yeah, so as I said in the news, there's basically a rather large price reduction across the board. But the biggest one that it affects for anyone getting new cars is the Model Y. And what I did say is that basically, as long as you order a Model Y with only one option selected, then it will qualify for the grant. This is the standard range Model Y, the base Model Y. So I thought I'd just explain that very briefly. So if you have a look at the standard Model Y, what counts is the vehicle subtotal, and that needs to be below $70,000. So obviously the standard Model Y does it. Now, if I get the standard Model Y and I change color, then if we go to the base price, again, the subtotal is 68,000, that qualifies. Any of the colors, including the dearest one, which is the red for $2,400, if you look on the website, it's 69,600 subtotal. So that means it qualifies for the WA government EV rebate. Now, if I go back to Pearl White and say choose the induction wheels, which are $2,400, again, that qualifies. If I also put it back to the Gemini wheels and instead choose a black and white interior on the white paint, that also qualifies at 68,700. Now, however, if I say change the color to say black and I apply wheels, you'll notice that we bust out of the $70,000. And basically, if I apply any color, that's all you can do. You can have any non-standard color, and that's your option. Any of those will qualify as long as you don't select different wheels and don't select a different interior. If you go for the Pearl White, which is standard, you then can select wheels or interior, but you can't select both. So that is if you want the additional $3,500 rebate. The thing with the rebate is it's a rebate that's applied after the event, so you've actually got to cough up the full amount at purchase, and then you apply and receive, I presume it's either a check or a money transfer from Treasury, WA Treasury, later on once they process the application.
Is
So,
there a limit of 10,000, Harold, or something like that?
oh, sorry, yes. Yeah, thanks, Steve. And there's a limit of 10,000 now. I just haven't had the 3 minutes of time to do the homework, but I did notice that we're roughly, the number of registrations for EVs is increasing by about 1,400 per quarter. So there were 10,000 and they came out in May last year. So if we just get 10,000 and just apply a simple, let's call it 1,500 per quarter, that's six and a bit quarters. So let's call that 1.5 years. So you're probably safe by the end of this year, depending. So if
Um,
you are interested in this,
Harold, that would be if that 1,400 per quarter would include those that are a lot more than $70,000, so wouldn't be getting.
yes, that's a good point.
I mean, at the
And
moment,
that would have been all the Model Ys. That's right. So you're right, Nigel.
it would have
we've got
just
to actually
MG, BYD, and the Model 3 rear-wheel drive. I don't know if the long range got it before, but that's about it. So I would say,
yeah, sorry, yeah. Okay, well then what I suggest now is that if we just apply 1,500 from now on, because sales are increasing dramatically, and I think these new price reductions are going to just add more fuel to that. And also, let's call it the distortion. Well, it's probably the wrong term. Well, it is. It's a distortion in the standard range Model Y. I think they are going to just fly out the door, because you've got the conjunction of the $7,000 cheaper, 7,000 plus cheaper, and the fact they also qualify for the FBT exemption for business vehicles or novated leases. So let's just say, look, end of the year it's probably fine. Maybe halfway through next year is when you've got to start thinking about it. We'll try and somehow get more accurate numbers from the Department of Transport, or even just get possibly a local member to ask a question in Parliament to say, hey, how many of these rebates are left? Like,
Harold,
let's get a rebate dashboard.
They do say on the Department of Transport's website that the numbers will not be published until they get close to the 10,000 running out. But yeah, it'd be a great idea to get someone to ask the actual question so we know where we are.
Well, hey, but let's get a member of Parliament to ask a question, because
Exactly.
it's not secret. Well, it ought not be a secret. And look, I dare say if anyone has done a few freedom of information requests, which I haven't, they would probably be obliged to just tell you what we're at the moment. But yeah,
I'll put the link in chat for the it's called the ZEV, Zero Emission Vehicle Rebate. It's a WA state government rebate.
Oh, so so obviously congratulations to everyone that got their cars last week. You know, hindsight Harry says, you know, you should be commiserated, because if you somehow waited for a week or something, then you might have got something cheaper. But you know, if I put in $10,000, if I bought $10,000 worth of Tesla shares at their IPO, they would now be worth in excess of $2 million. So that little part of my hindsight Harry says I should have done that a mere 10 years ago, or 13 years ago, whenever it was that they actually IPO'd. So the best time to buy a Tesla is today, you know, because you get to enjoy it the day you get it. And if it means sometimes that the luck doesn't go your way, well, that's just one of those things that happens. The main thing is that nothing has changed about the value of the car when you got it, regardless of when you've got it. So when you bought it, you were happy to pay that money because it was good value for that money you paid, and nothing changes no matter what happens to the price, whether it goes up, down, or sideways. The car is still the same car. And in fact, as we often say in Ask Us Anything, And as Elon Musk has said a long time ago, the day you get your car is the worst it will ever be. It will actually improve with age.
Yep.
And obviously, speaking of something just like that, we now find out that Tesla is actually hiring test drivers in Western Australia, and we obviously know what it's for. It's for testing FSD beta software and to get data for
How they
an
recruit that,
Australian
Harold?
launch. Sorry?
How are they recruiting that, or do you have to sign up for it?
It's already been and done, Damo. There were ads on Tesla's website, and I think also on LinkedIn, or at least there was an ad on LinkedIn for the Queensland job. I think I've got the actual contents of the ad, and I'll just bring it up. Here it is. It was basically the body of the job listing. So highly motivated self-starters. It's a 3-shift program, so they are 9-hour shifts that overlap, because obviously you have like a handover period, and it's a 3-month contract, or at least that's what they're sort of offering, for prospect to extend, and they're going round the clock. I don't know whether they're going 7 days, but I would suggest that it would be plausible, because it's probably flexible contract arrangements. And so what happened was that they pulled down that ad within about, I think it was 2 days of putting it up, because no doubt they got a bundle of applications, not including yours truly, because I just don't have time, because I'd do it for free anyway. But that's, I'm sure most of us in this room would do it for free if we could pick our hours. But it's great news. So it means that Tesla FSD beta is coming to Australia. It's just a matter of when, not if. So again, if you bought your car last week, it will benefit from what's happening over the next couple of months, which then may make your decision whether or not to buy FSD for $10,100. That might make that decision really interesting. And also, by the way, you need to be aware that, as happened in America, in the US, the price of FSD is, I think it's $15,000. So it's approximately twice the price of the Australian version, but that's because in Australia we don't have it yet. So something that Elon Musk did promise was that everyone in a jurisdiction would be given at least some days' notice before the price of FSD went up in that jurisdiction, which he did abide by, except in Canada, where he basically sprung the price rise on them. Then there was a bit of an uproar, and then he wound that back and allowed people to buy it at the lower price for an extra week, I think it was. But anyway, enough of that. All right, has anyone got any questions or comments for starters?
Steve here just posted 6 questions. I don't know if it's easier to answer verbally or someone.
Yeah, please ask them verbally so everyone on YouTube will know what they are or hear them.
Sure. Do you want me to run through all 6 or do one at a time?
Yeah, let's just wait. You might as well go while you're hot. So yeah, yep.
Question 1, just wondering where to buy the 3-phase charge tails, those adapters where you can plug your UMC into a 3-phase outlet. Question 2 was how to save.
Well, let's just do them rather. Yeah, my memory isn't that great, so let's just attack them one at a time. So you can look at, I think evse.com.au have them a lot. You get there's lots on eBay and lots on Alibaba and similar. Yeah, I think evse.com.au. That's the 3-phase plug with a tail that goes into your UMC. Just be aware of one thing. You're not supposed to use it on a 3-phase house. If your house is 3-phase and you get an electrician to install a 3-phase outlet and you use that single-phase tail, you then are basically in violation of Western Power's grid connection policy.
Oh, okay.
So just a heads up. But what you can do is just dial down the current a little bit, because what will happen is the car will draw 32 amps on that single phase, and that's as much as your house is permitted to draw on any of the three phases. And by definition, unless your house, everything was turned off, it would be drawing some power on that extra phase as well. So just be aware, you could get an electrician to make it fully compliant, and all new houses are like this anyway. A new house will have a 32 amp three-phase circuit breaker as your house's main switch, which just means you might trip the circuit breaker and just got to reset it. So just a heads up on that one, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. Do those limitations apply also to industrial workshops that have three-phase outlets?
Oh, no. Well, no, because if it's an industrial, if it's a workshop, then you've probably got a 44 kilowatt supply. You just got to check what your supply is. So that would be in the main switchboard, and it should be written on the main switch or somewhere adjacent to that. But just check what the total power is at the workshop. It's not uncommon for workshops to have much more than 22 kilowatts.
Okay. Thank you. Question
Sorry,
two.
Harold, could I
Yes, Shane.
could I just jump in on that one? Yeah, sorry. How does that work with cars that can only charge off one phase?
What that means is that a car that can only charge on one phase, if you connect a 32 amp EVSE
Say my
to
cones.
the house, no, let's just say even if you connect a Tesla high power wall connector or a EO EVSE, a wall mounted car charger, then the electrician has to do a load assessment. And of course, that's a unbalanced single phase load. And one way they can comply, according to Western Power, is to retrofit to a house that hasn't got one, a 32 amp three phase circuit breaker to the house. And then you can do whatever you like, sort of. And then what happens is, if something else in your house is consuming more than 0 amps, sort of, eventually your circuit breaker will go and overload and make the house comply with Western Power wiring rules. Sorry, supply rules. Or you can apply to Western Power to have your house supply increased, the capacity increased. And they'll just give you a quote for how much that's going to cost.
Okay, so I've got 64 amps, I think, to my house.
Whether you got a single phase house then, Shane?
No, I've got a three phase.
Oh, so you got a 64 amp three phase supply?
Yes.
Do you? Or do you have 64 amp boundary fuses?
Sorry, you broke up then. What was that?
Okay. Oh, you mean seriously or you mean metaphorically?
No, seriously, I couldn't hear what you said.
Okay, sorry. Apologies. Sorry. Okay, so do you have a 64 amp? Has Western Power said you've got a 64 amp supply, or have you just looked at your boundary fuses to see that they're marked as 64 amps?
I've looked at my boundary fuse. Looked
Yes.
at my boundary fuse.
So then
they're
what
all
you've-
64 amps.
Yep. And in fact, when I built a house in Joondalup, it was on a vacant block, so it had a brand new power supply. It was underground. They had to underground it from the power pole on the other side of the road. They asked me what sort of power I wanted, and I said, well, what have you got? And they said, the standard is 80 amp supply, like capacity, but you can have 120. And I said, how much did that cost? And they said nothing. So I said, I'll tick that box. But I still think now what Western Power have effectively done is they've sort of retrospectively declared that every single standard household, residential household, has a standard 22 kilowatt three-phase supply, or whatever 63 amp single phase is. I don't know what that is in kilowatts. So even though the cable is fat to your house from the network, they only allocate each house 32 amps 3-phase as the standard supply, for which you then, if you want to draw more than that, you are obliged to apply for it. And that what it is, it's a matter of them finding out in the rest of your suburb and the street what the overall load is, and then they'll charge you a fee for that extra allocation. That's if you do it by the letter of the law. But if you do it in compliance with the regulations. If you don't do that, then you're not in compliance, and that's all. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
To put, put that into perspective,
off grid, and away we go.
To put that into perspective, if you've got two wall connectors, Tesla wall connectors, and you're charging two Teslas at the same time, you've pretty much maxed out your whole allowance. So you've got nothing left for the rest of your house.
Yes, but you can actually, if you get the new, say the new generation 3 wall connectors, they talk on Wi-Fi, and you can actually get them to communicate with each other and load shed or share, so that it can split the load. So your electrician will say, oh, I can give you 11 kilowatts. That's a safe limit. And then you can have two high power wall connectors in parallel on the same circuit. Well, it actually doesn't matter because it's 3-phase anyway. But they can share power, so that the two of them together, if there are two cars plugged in at once, the two of them combined won't draw more than 11 kilowatts, and they'll share power between themselves.
Yeah, but if you've got two
Steve,
cars pulling 11 kilowatts each, you've got nothing left for the rest of the house. So, yeah.
Yes, but if you make them share the power, if you set the wall connectors so they share power, then each car will get 5.5 kilowatts or whatever, depending in proportion to what their static charge is.
Alternatively, you can just dial down the amps on the screen for each one, even if they're not.
Yep. Okay, go Steve, and your next question.
Yeah, thank you. That did answer my question. And I think Scott there has just also highlighted that the 3-phase tail would still run 7 kilowatts on a 3-phase outlet. The reason for my question is the charging outlet at my building complex has a 3-phase plug. So I'm imagining that it's just running at 7 kilowatt single phase. So great links there, everybody. Thank you. Second question was just regarding saving settings. I've noticed that if I turn the lights off, sometimes I'll come back in and they'll go back to auto. And also that lane departure warning that beeps all the time. It's really quite annoying. I go into the settings, autopilot, and I turn that off, but for some reason it just keeps turning back on. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong.
You have to save the settings under your driver profile. So if you've got yours set up as Steve, and then you go back to the car and you say, I've got to set those settings, but you're on easy entry or a different setting, it'll remember those. And then when you go, I'm Steve, it will go back to the old settings. So you've got to set the driver profile as Steve, set it how you want, and it'll always be that for Steve.
Legend. Thank you. Next question was just regarding wrapping, vinyl wrapping. Has anybody done it? Any recommendations locally?
Where do you live? Which area?
In Shenton Park.
Well, the one I used was 45 Protections in Yangebup. Success.
Okay.
Don't put a PPF on if you want, not a vinyl wrap. Vinyl wraps look great, but in 2 years with the hot sun, they're buggered.
Okay. I just heard that there's been some anti-Tesla people out there who've been keying Teslas just because they're pricks. And I thought rather than paying my insurance premium excess, I'll just chuck it into a vinyl wrap. And if I need to, I can replace the vinyl wrap.
Yeah, PPF is the way to go. It's
PPF
thicker.
Is that a spray-on application?
No, it's like the vinyl wrap. It's a coating that gets stuck on, but it's much, much thicker than a vinyl wrap.
Okay, so that would protect against vandalism like keying?
PPF, paint protection film. Depends upon how hard they go at the keying.
Sure. Okay.
Steve, I wouldn't worry too much about the keying. It's not necessarily people, that might have something to, against Tesla. There's plenty of other make cars that get keyed all the time as well. It's
Sure.
just that the Teslas had the technology to capture it on video. So, the likelihood of that happening, I would say, is very low. Not zero, but very low. So, yeah, I wouldn't lose too much sleep over it.
Sure.
Yeah, go Steve. Got any other questions?
Sort of on a similar theme, window tinting. I read on some blogs that it can sometimes interfere with the cameras, but I was just a bit confused because the cameras are in the door frame, and I just wondered.
No interference, zero. No, there's no part. There are no cameras that are on any part of the of any glass that gets tinted.
Yeah, I didn't
so.
think so.
No.
Maybe they tried.
So go for your life. You've got a Model Y, haven't you, Steve?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the only windows you've really got left to tint are the two front ones, the driver's side and the passenger side front windows. Mm-hmm. Everything else is already tinted. So that's the only two that you, really need to tint or can tint. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and look, any standard tinter, I personally used Solarband, but look, anyone or heard of or like or you've been told suck less, just get anyone. It's not the actual tint is unimportant because all the UV coating is already in the car.
Yeah.
And even infrared is really good on even the driver's windows. It's just really appearance more than anything else.
Okay. Next question I had was regarding the wheel caps. Is there more streamlined wheel caps than the standard Gemini ones, and are they worth investing in? Or
I can answer this, and sorry, I don't want to hog this, but I've just done a bit of a deep dive into it, and the short answer is no. The Geminis have proven. There was one video I saw. There's a company, I think it's on Alibaba. No, it wasn't Alibaba, but it was something like that. They do a black version of the Geminis.
Okay.
That's non-standard, and it actually to get full coverage, because some people paint their Gemini wheel caps black, but then the problem is the actual outer ring of the rim is still showing, so you get this sort of silver outer ring. And then what someone did, which looked even worse, was they then didn't paint the Tesla logo black. They left that silver, so you had like a silver button and a silver ring. So that same channel, it's an American YouTube channel, he actually bought a black Gemini wheel cover aftermarket that actually covered up the little ring. And when he did a test, it was no different. It was, I think from memory, it was no different, or maybe slightly worse, or maybe just the tiniest little bit better. But there's nothing better than Geminis. And if you've seen people, they buy it's like an Uber turbine. Oh no, it's like an induction wheel covers. They're black, look quite nice. They've got terrible performance. They're almost as bad as having no wheel covers at all. And having no wheel covers is quite bad. It's like more than 10% worse efficiency than having the wheel covers.
And then my last question was just about tow bars, pros and cons, and whether it needs to be Tesla authorized, if there's any problems with warranty or anything, if it's not a Tesla authorized one.
It's not a warranty issue. The biggest issue is that at the moment, the only tow bar you can get fitted that then is compatible with Tesla's trailer mode, which is when you're towing a trailer, is Tesla's one, which is I think $1,800.
1970.
Yeah, 1970.
1970. Thanks, Paul. it's great value. It's fitted. It's standard. It has trailer mode built in, which means if you have a trailer, it will suppress autopilot automatically for safety reasons. If you also put in a bike rack, you can then suppress trailer mode when it detects the trailer lights. Everything is plugged into the car as standard. People don't need to hack into the wiring loom to get trailer lights and all that sort of stuff happening. But it's not really a warranty issue as far as I'm concerned. It's really a drivability issue with trailer mode being enabled or available. And at the moment, because it actually requires a separate module that does the controls, it's not something that Tesla is currently offering to people that have got third-party trailer kits,
Right.
towing kits, sorry.
Sorry, just to clarify your comment about the autopilot, did you say that the autopilot function is still available with a with a tow bar and a bike rack?
Yes, and
It's
unfortunately,
disabled
this
into
is
the trailer.
to be blunt. It's an honesty system. So if you have a bike rack, many bike racks have lights because your normal tail lights and brake lights and indicators are obscured by your push bikes and whatever. So quite a few of those bike racks. Oh, it's also got to do with, the other thing it's got to do with is the ultrasonics. So when you're reversing, if you've got a bike rack or a trailer for that matter, your ultrasonics will scream at you thinking you're going to hit something. So with trailer mode, it suppresses the ultrasonics when you're reversing. And if you've got a lights fitted to, say, a bike rack, it uses when you plug in the trailer hitch, the lighting hit, the electrical connection, it'll often detect the globes or LEDs, and it'll invoke trailer mode. If you haven't got a trailer, you've only got a bike rack, well then it's permitted or safe to use autopilot. So if you then press the trailer mode button in your screen, it will then allow you to use autopilot because you're only holding a bike rack and not towing a trailer. Because for safety reasons, Tesla doesn't want the car to be in autopilot when you are actually towing a trailer.
Sure.
But again, it's an honesty system. If you were to press trailer mode while you were towing a trailer, the icon changes from a blue color to an orange color, or vice versa, I can't remember now. And it will allow you to use autopilot, but that is contrary to Tesla's intention.
Okay.
Steve, just going back to your earlier question about the hubcaps or the wheel covers, there is a company called Remetrics. I bought some wheel covers for the Model 3 from them some time ago. They claimed that the aerodynamic performance was actually better than Tesla's own wheels. This was on the Model 3. Interestingly, they don't claim the same thing for the Model Y wheel covers. So as Harold said, perhaps the Geminis are the best, but I presume they would be close. But yeah, you might want to check that out as well. It's called Remetrics.
Cheers, thank you.
I'll put a photo of my Model 3 in the chat so you can have a look at what they look like.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'll actually try and find the videos a little bit later where this gentleman compared the three rims. He compared, this is on Gemini's, so three covers. Well, no cover, a Gemini cover, and an aftermarket cover. And there's a couple of videos. I will hunt them down and put them up a little bit later on. But the short answer is the Geminis are the best. And for example, I bought a performance Model Y, which has got Uber turbines, and they basically perform 12% worse than the Geminis when you compare the same car to the different wheels and tyre combination. So it makes a huge difference what you've got as far as wheels.
Thank you.
Alrighty, you got any others for us, Steve, or
Well, I
have
had
we
two other
depleted
ones that
you?
are quite trivial, and I'm conscious that I might be hogging the limelight. Is there anyone else with any questions or?
No, it's cool. Just you might as well just do them because many of these questions are precisely the ones that either the people in the room are interested in, or certainly those on YouTube would certainly be interested. So
one more
all
question
good.
about settings, and then I've got probably more of a discussion point about the rear motor failure. So I'll have a chat about that. So my last question about settings was when you go into
They seem pretty
either the
durable.
fireplace setting thing or the Rainbow Road, this like weird song comes on. The Rainbow Road, it's a Cowbells one, and the fireplace song is some other one. I was just wondered if there's a way to turn those songs off.
No, the Rainbow Road is really bad if you get frustrated with autopilot because it's not engaging, and if you then rapidly do the stalk, which I've been guilty of doing, that cowbell song comes on. The only way to stop it that I've found is you've got to go into your toy box and invoke Merry Christmas, whatever the one that does the Christmas one where you see reindeers and stuff, because that cowbell song is loud and it does not shut up.
I call
And
that punishment, Harold, when you go
it
too
should
hard
be,
on the stick.
Yeah, you're dead right, Damo. But it's crazy. You can't use the volume. You can't even. I don't even think if you change radio source, it actually stops it. It's just really annoying.
I think there's a setting where you can press it down 4 times and it automatically turns that on, and then that bloody song comes on, and that's
right.
It just overpowers Spotify or whatever. Yeah.
Well, that's what happened to me a few times because I sometimes get a bit shitty when you can put traffic aware cruise control on, but the little grey icon for autopilot is not there, and it's a perfectly good piece of road, and you sort of get frustrated. You sort of do a double tap, but if you sort of get a bit persistent and do multiple double taps, it gets interpreted as I want Rainbow Road and I want it now, and loud. So yeah, it can be really annoying.
I did find that the autopilot today wouldn't engage with the headlights off, which was interesting.
Right. Normally when you engage it, it will bring headlights onto auto high beams, but maybe so did you turn your headlights off manually?
I just turned them off because, it was a bright day and I was driving around in the daytime and I wanted to save battery power, and then tried to use the autopilot, like lane assist, and yeah, it wouldn't activate. But then when I put the lights back onto auto, it would activate. So it must have needed it to see the lines or something.
And I wouldn't worry about the power for the lights.
Okay.
They use bugger all. Don't worry about the power for the lights as well. They don't use bugger all. So
okay,
if you want to conserve power, just don't be so hard on the right foot.
Oh, that's easier said than done.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I guess sorry.
Oh, sorry, just before you go, I did find this video, and actually I better give the gentleman that actually made it a plug, and that is, give him a plug, and that is Cobra Told Ya. So he's doing all right. He's a bit better than Nigel. He's got 8,300 subscribers. Ooh. And his results are the Uber turbines were the worst at 233 watt hours per mile. Don't worry about the watt hours per mile. It's just a relative number. Aeros at 246. Well, here, okay, the Remetrics, it's claiming slightly less at 243, and none is 267, which is, that's not right. No, those results are wrong. Sorry, forget that. I think he's actually done a typo, but he might have actually said it properly in the words. So I have to get back to you on that one. But basically, the aero wheels are the best at the moment. Okay. Gemini's. Yeah, sorry, go Steve. You're not ask.
Yeah, just the last point was probably more of a discussion point. Picked up the new car last week. Driving home, had an error on the rear motor. rear motor disabled, may reset if you exit the vehicle and re-enter. Tried that, didn't reset it. Tried leaving it overnight, didn't reset it. Then the next day, still had this error, couldn't utilize cruise control or autopilot or anything like that. Said it was speed limited to 100, and it started off being speed limited to 60 and then 80 something, and then speed limited to 111, but always had this turtle picture saying rear motor disabled. Called up the service center and they said someone will connect to the car and do diagnostics, which they did. They called me back an hour later and said, do not drive the car, we'll send a tow truck. So then that got towed in to service center, and I think they had it for like 5 days and replaced the rear motor, and said, you know, it's all good now, and just driving it today, it seems fine. But yeah, just Googling that particular problem on the internet, it seems like this has been a common problem, not only for Model Y, but also Model 3. And I just wondered if you guys had any comments.
I don't know if anyone, I have not heard of anyone in this room that's had any problem. In a Model X, I had an issue, but that was to do with the 12-volt battery, which is different because in my old X, it was a lead acid battery, which is prone, you know, which fails.
Right.
Where's he
I
gone?
had it with my front motor, the turtle, front motor disabled. Remember, Harold? About a week or two after I got my car, but they fixed that over the air.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Shane had a problem. I think one of those things was driving in reduced mode or whatever, but that was for another unrelated fault, nothing related to the drive, totally different issue. But it threw up interesting errors. But I think, Steve, yours, look, it can just be a black swan event. There could have just been a fault in, it's probably most likely the inverter, the motor inverter, but it's, yeah. So, but I think the inverter is actually part of the motor, so it's one assembly, well, sort of. So they just basically just change it out. But it was probably literally one of those one in a, you know, 100,000 or whatever it is, yeah, or something like that. One of those rare things. So, so don't let it pollute the rest of your driving experience or ownership experience. The incidence is super low. Of course, if you go on the internet, you know, Tesla have built, I think it's 4 or coming up to 5 million cars.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it's a 1 in 100,000 event, well, you're going to have dozens of them in the world.
Sure.
But it's super rare, and they are very reliable.
Yeah.
And that was probably a fault that just wasn't detected, or, you know, could have been like a component that wasn't soldered or fitted or something properly, or something rattled around, and then finally, with a little bit of driving, made contact with something else, like a loose component, and then caused, you know, a failure.
Yeah, it seemed fine today. I think they had to drop the rear subframe and drain coolant and just replace the whole unit, which includes the drive unit inverter. And they said that that was replaced from a totally different batch as well. So said that, yeah, should be good to go. And it seemed fine driving home. So
yeah, it will be. It will be. So, Steve, did you get a long range Model Y or did you get a performance?
I did, yeah. I wish that I got the performance after I'd driven the loan car for a couple of days. Bloody nice cars, that's for sure. But yeah,
but they were they were a lot more expensive, Steve. A lot more expensive.
I
was going to say the price dropped.
It did. It did drop. 6K.
And the thing is, I mean, you know, my performance, you know, cost me 108, I think, roughly. But then I had to put in another $2,500 for the Gemini wheels to get the efficiency that I want.
Right.
So, you know, if you've got the Gemini wheels, you've done pretty well on a long range, because you will truly get long range.
So did you sell your Uber tunes?
No, I'm probably just going to keep them. My wife's car still has Uber turbines, so what I might just do is eventually, when her tires wear out, I'll just swap them with my Uber turbines and just leave them. Because when I eventually sell the car, you know, it may be more desirable to sell it with Uber turbines.
Sure. True.
You know, when the Cybertruck arrives, you know, I might just put the Uber turbines back on, because some people just like the look of them. And to be honest, you don't need long range unless you're doing silly things like driving around Australia and other ridiculous activities. So with the WIEV network, which is Synergy and Horizon Power's, emerging fast DC charger network that has unbroken charges every 200 kilometres between Eucla to Perth to Kununurra, you don't need to worry about range. It's just not a factor anymore. And that whole network will be fully completed by about this time next year. And in fact, I just am looking around to see if Sandra is online. I thought Sandra is there, but she's lurking, so she'll come on shortly with an update. Oh, she's online. Awesome. So, Sandra, as long as you're
patient, Harold.
Sincere apologies.
No, don't be.
So let me just bring up what I need to bring up. So just to quickly introduce, although Sandra really needs no introduction, and I mean that sincerely, but Sandra is Synergy's discovery and design practitioner. I am getting better at that.
You are getting really good. Pretty proud.
And she's going to give us a quick update on the current status of the WIEV network. So the floor is yours, Sandra.
Thanks. It's going to be a very quick one. I don't have that many updates, but I just thought I will give you a quick look, because I'm sure you have noticed. If you go to next one, Harold, please. I'm sure you can all go on the Synergy website, or probably Horizon Power as well. I haven't checked, but you can see the 49 sites with 98 charging stations all around WA. And when it's becoming green, that means that it's operational and you can use it. So getting there, as you can count, there's one more from last time I talked to you guys, being Lenslean. So we are now at 6 of them in the Swiss. And I believe that Broome is operational as well on the ChargeFox app. However, they haven't officially said that it was open, because they are doing a specific launch event on the 19th of July. But it's still, you can still use the one in Broome as well. So on the whole network, we are at 7 of them. So Lenslean has been launched last Tuesday, 27th. So just on time before the school holidays. So we are really, really happy with that, because as you know, we had quite a few issues with Lenslean, and our gears were in the ground for quite some time. So very, very happy that we were able to provide this 150 kilowatt charger before the school holidays. I had a quick look before the session today, and already on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, during the school holidays, it has been massively used. So very happy to see that it was very required. So that's awesome. On the picture there that you can see in Lenslean, this is the CEO of the Shire of Gingin, Aaron Cook, who has been a very, very great support throughout the whole process. Like we had a lot of strong conversation, but overall he was really, really happy to see this charger in the ground and working. Even more happy to get in Harold's car for a spin. But yeah, very, very excited to try the charger, and so happy to provide it to all of us. So that was great. And we had also the Deputy Shire President, Andrea Vies. So that was great that they all come along to come and try the charger and see what it looks like and how it works. And they asked a lot of questions. They were genuinely very interested. So it was a great day. The only minus on Lenslean is that it's not completely finished. Unfortunately, the paymate. Yeah, thanks, Harold. So this little thing, as you can see, it's covered. Unfortunately, we haven't received the paymate on time, but we didn't want to delay the opening of the station. because we really wanted it to be usable for the holidays. However, that means that still now, if you go to Lenslin, you will have to pay through RFID card or ChargeFox app. You are not able to pay with credit card at the moment. We are waiting for the part. They come back to commission it on Monday, this Monday, and unfortunately the parts received were not right, so we have to wait now that they send us another whole payment thing. So it's a bit unfortunate, but yeah, we are learning along the way again, and I'm sure it's not the first quack, and I'm sure it won't be the last one. So it's no big deal because you can still charge your car, which is the most important right now. So I will let you know, obviously, when the credit card facility will be available. Just be aware that you can't pay with credit card at the moment. So that was for Lenslin. And last week on Thursday, so last week was a big week, we had an official launch. So most of you will know that we have 3 sites operational in June, which was the Albany, Manjimup, and Williams. And we wanted, it's opening really the Southwest corridor. So we wanted to do a kind of launch event, which we did in Albany on the 29th of July. And the left pictures that you can see are just, it's not Albany, it's the site of Williams. And I love this picture that you took, Harold, with your drone, because it really gives you a perfect view of what a drive-through bay looks like. So that's the Williams site that you can see, which was very handy, that we use on the way to Albany and on the way back from Albany. And it was very handy to have the WAV network working, because the Tesla superchargers were closed on the way back. So it was very welcome to have this one available, I might say. And the launch itself was on invitation only. And I wanted to thank again Rob and Robin, as well as Pete and you, Harold, for coming down all the way from Perth to be there and provide your car and your knowledge and share your passion with all the people that were there. There was a lot of people from City of Albany. So we had the MLA, the member for Albany, Rebecca Stevens. We had as well Dennis Wellington, who is the mayor of Albany. We had as well the CEO, Andrew Sharp, the CEO of Williams as well, Jeff McKeon, that came. So it was really great to see all these people involved and coming along. But most importantly, and that will be my picture on the bottom there, it's you can see that the site in Albany has 2 times 150 kilowatts, so you can charge 4 cars at once. But on the parking that is just next to it, there is another parking that will become a Tesla parking very soon, when they will put their supercharger there. So there's 6 additional bays there. And we managed to contact a lot of local people. So most of them are coming from around, so like Denmark, Walpole, Albany itself. And so altogether we had 10 different EVs. So we had Tesla 3, Tesla Y, BYD 803, Kona, Nissan Leaf, Volvo XC40, Polestar, MG, Kia, EV6, and Niro. So it was really great to have like such a display of EVs, particularly because there were a lot of media. So I really wanted to show people that it's not always only Tesla. It's not always, you know, people always think when they think EV that it's not affordable, or that it's only for a specific kind of people. While there you had so many different EVs. That was really great. A lot of conversation, a lot of community engagement. So that was really great. And thanks again for all the local people that took the time to come and share their car. And again, really, really a massive thanks to all of you that came from Perth. Really appreciate it. So this event was really great. And if you go to next slide, it had really good media presence. So a lot of articles, some radio show as well. So it was very well received, and it was really great. I wish we could have seen a bit better the branding and the charger behind on this picture on the marketing point of view. But yeah, that's Rebecca Stevens, so the MLA from Albany and the mayor of Albany. But yeah, it was a great event. So yeah, thanks again for the community to support us on this one. I think that's about it. So the only next things I talk about it is Broom. So if you feel like traveling a little bit, they are doing their official launch on the 19th of July. So feel free to try it. Harold, I think you're going to be the only one going. But, you know.
There's only one stupid person in this room.
Well, I'm not coming with you on this one. Sorry. And
Harsh.
I know, right? I choose my rights. And to come, like we are waiting for Carnarvon. I haven't heard anything right or wrong, so I assume that it's still happening in July. It's on Horizon Powerland, and we are also still working very hard on Walpole. Unfortunately, it still hasn't happened at the start of July, but we are hoping to have a date for another inspection before the end of the month. So I will keep you updated as soon as I have more information. But yeah, be aware that we are still very much on to Walpole to make it happen on this month. So yeah, that's about it. Is there any question or concerns? Anything?
Yeah, I think we have to give Harold a special thanks for brooming up that whole car park before the event started as well.
Multitask, Mike. Multitask. I love it. And he went to buy the broom first.
Yeah, and then he was flying around with it like a witch.
That's probably accurate. That is probably accurate.
I'm just really disappointed nobody filmed this. It will be gold.
I'm pretty sure I've got a photo. I'll have to have a look.
Yeah. Oh man, this one will be quite
No,
expensive.
that's actually, Charles, Chuck, you had a comment, the poor leaf in the lower right hand corner. Let's just bring that one up. There's actually a bit of irony to that. So
I can only assume that it was a local.
Yeah, it's
yes,
City
it
of
was
Albany.
actually, it's the city of Albanese.
Yes,
and
it's City of
ironically,
Albany.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, so ironically, what they did was obviously because they had that leaf, they then bought, I think it was about 7, it was either 5 or 7 Type 1 tethered chargers that they had installed in various places. And now they've actually bolstered their fleet. I think they're going to sell the Leaf, and they've bolstered their fleet with Konas, which of course are Type 2. So I've had to send them a link to some of the Type 1 to Type 2 adapters, so at least they don't have to replace all their EVSEs, which is kind of ironic. But yeah, they were one of the early adopters of the Leaf.
Yeah, my employee did a similar thing. They bought 2 old Leafs about, I think it was the same year that I got my Leaf, so it was like 2016, something like that. Because back then that was the only thing that was really affordable to a business. But
absolutely.
Now they've got Ionics, MGs, Model 3s. I think that's it for now. But yeah, much better range.
Awesome. Okay, so before we let Sandra go and do some real work, although this is actually very important, actually, to be perfectly honest. That actually came out completely wrong, but I know. What I mean is work. What I mean is work that earns you money, and not. And this is really, this is out of your own time that you're doing this for us, and we really do appreciate it. And I think that's the main point I wanted to make. And make no mistake, Sandra does so much work out of working hours and unpaid work, for the entire EV community, and that's something that we should all collectively be very grateful for. So that's what I really meant to say, Sandra.
To every commissioning and everything, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I don't have a real job, so and it's good fun. Look, it's really good fun. It really is. But yeah, so has anyone got any other questions? Oh, Shane, you got your hand up. Sorry. Oh, and James, sorry, I don't know Who won? Okay, you can fight out amongst yourselves. Go Shane and then
I
James.
can't figure out how to. I can't figure out how to put my little hand up on the app. So, I was just wanting to, well, one, say thank you, Sandra, again. I think I'll be using the Albany one fairly shortly. But I was just wondering, what's it looking like for out the Grayson Highway, and also the Jerramungup sort of end? How are things looking over through there?
Yeah, so Jerramungup, it's not gonna be before the end of the year. The reason why Jerramungup is not one of my LGA, but from what I know, I believe that Jerramungup, the main issue really is it's a bit like Coolgardie. It's the LGA that really struggle to find some funding to do the car park. And we ask in the license that we are signing with LGAs, we ask the LGAs to create a car park. I know that, for example, the superchargers in Williams are not on Seal Road, and it's not a proper car park, and you don't care, you just want to charge your thing. But as part of the WAV network, it was a kind of requirement, and so that's a bit of an issue there. So I will not expect Jerramungup. I haven't heard about Jerramungup for the next 3 months plan. So I will assume, since everything has to be done by Q1 2024, I will assume that it will be towards the end of the year. And Great Eastern Highway, that will be
Southern Cross specifically.
Well, Southern Cross was starting really well because there was already the transformer. But then it has been a bit delayed, I think 6 or 8 weeks. So we are still looking at Q3 though. So it's looking good, but I don't think it will happen next month as we were at start. We thought it will come quite quickly since we have the transformer in place. But there was other things that happened that makes me think that it will still happen in Q3, but not this month. So later on, probably I don't know, August, September, October at the latest, I will assume, if everything goes
And
to plan.
Coolgardie on behalf of Shane? I think Shane, that's similar sort of thing.
Yeah, Coolgardie is at the similar. So we have started the civil works. Coolgardie has started good work. Western Power has done quite a lot of work still. But we are really struggling with this car park. So and it's in the license, and we are waiting as well because Coolgardie, it's a whole new car park. It's next to where the Shire is, and so we had to change the land tenure with the Department of Land and Heritage. Sorry, I'm probably not saying DPLH, and the time frame is very long. I think it's with DPLH for I don't know, maybe 9 months. Something like that. Takes a long time to change a land tenure. And until it's changed, we can't sign the license. And until we have signed the license, we can't finalize the site. So we had the agreement, with DPLH, but they haven't changed the tenure yet. So it's just a lot of admin things happening in the background that are a bit more complex than just the construction phase, I guess, unfortunately. Yeah, so just on the left there of the Shire office. Yes, thanks. So the car park is going quite well in the way, but we are still wondering who is going to do the island and when they're going to be able to put some sealed bays so that we can put the infrastructure in place.
Frustrating. How's Norseman looking, Sandra? Hi, Sarah.
Ooh, I don't know. Sorry, I have no idea, Norseman, because it's not on our land. So anything Horizon Power is glory even to us. We don't have, except when it's really ready, really close to be ready. In general, we don't really have much information. So unfortunately, I can ask for next time and see if they give me an answer, but I haven't heard anything. Last time we talked with Horizon Power, they came along, I think, a couple of weeks or so, and they were talking about Broome, Carnarvon, and I think Exmouth. That's all I heard about. So yeah, I will not know. I will put it in my note to ask, but I will not hold my breath. Sorry.
Thanks.
Righty. Sorry, and James. Sorry, James, you go.
I was just saying we booked a holiday down for the weekend in Manjimup and Albany to use those EVs. And a lot of the businesses didn't know. We made sure when we went to the businesses, we said, "Oh, we're only here because you've got an EV charger now." And they were very interested. A lot of the businesses didn't realize it was around.
Oh, that's good. If you can spread the word, it's always great, definitely. Because in general, we go to the site before we start civil works to speak with local businesses and local residents, but we don't do the whole town. We just do the ones that are quite close to the site in case they will be impacted or in case they have any question regarding the civil works before it starts, so that we don't have any pushback or any issue. Like what happens in Calgary, for example. We are trying to avoid this to happen again. But yeah, so if the business is a bit further, I guess we don't always go to, depends if we are stuck there for a few hours, and then like in Southern Cross, I think we did every single business. But yeah, in general, we just do the one surrounding the site. So that's great. The more you talk about it, the best it is, because people will embrace it as well, and will be able to inform tourists and people coming along. So that's great.
Right, has anyone else got any other questions for Sandra? Nope.
Good.
Oh, thank you very much, Sandra. Really, like I said,
Pleasure.
really appreciate you giving up your time, your free time to give us a report, and that's really fantastic, and really do appreciate.
No worries.
everything
Thanks
you
for
do.
having me, and I will invite myself next week because I will have a bit of a news for you all. So yeah, I will come back next week with a new feature.
Look forward to it. Once
Thanks,
again,
everyone.
thank you
Have a
very
great
much,
night.
Sandra.
I don't
See you
know.
next week.
Thank you.
Cliffhanger
Ciao.
teasers right at the last minute. It shouldn't be.
That's
allowed.
right.
That's
Well, I'm
right.
from marketing, right? Can't help myself. See you guys. See you next week.
See you, Sandra.
See ya.
Alrighty, now since we're talking about charge,
With little teasers like that, we're going to get ourselves monetized. No worries.
yes, that's right. We can be almost as effluent as Nigel. Okay, so since we're talking about charges, let's change not just gears, but let's change states, which is why I'm really happy that Chuck is with us, because, and Chuck, feel free to go into rant mode, because I certainly am on a few levels. The RAA, which is the, I don't even know what that stands for, but it's the South Australian version of the RAC, have put out a list of charge locations, current and future, and they've done it to what they call fast AC 7 kilowatt chargers, ultra rapid 200s, and 150 kilowatts. And there's a big long list.
Sorry, Harold, can you just zoom in a little? It's a bit hard to read.
Oh, my eyes are weak.
Thank you.
Oh, that's better.
But I'm just going to go like this because we don't really care, except there's a few notables. So Sejuna, let's just go, we're going to have to do this like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Claire's getting a fast DC charger. That's great. You know, as Tesla owners, it's not so important to us. Keith, that has the side of a supercharger plus a
EV.
350. It's EV.
ChargeFox,
No, is it
isn't
EV or is it? Well, it's the ChargeFox. It's on the ChargeFox network, but I'm not sure if it's owned by ChargeFox or not.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's I think it's EV, and ChargeFox is at Murray Bridge or something like that.
Right. So it's EV with ChargeFox as the app, as a charge point operator. Well, the billing operator really.
No,
I think is that right?
It's all EV, that one, I think.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. So Keith is going, the RAA are very generously and really just going to waste their money, going to install a single 7 kilowatt fast AC charger in Keith. And I'm sure it'll get used at least a few times a year. Kimber, it's great news, he's getting a fast DC charger. But at the bottom, which is the one that annoys me the most, is Yalata is getting an AC charger. So,
oh, that's crap.
If we, no, it's true, but it is crap. If we flick over to PlugShare, this is my other little rant. Oh, actually, I'll rephrase that. So, Chuck, you wouldn't have put these pins on,
No, actually, I saw them this morning and I thought, because
right?
there was an
Right.
announcement yesterday which listed about 10 sites, which I've just posted in the chat actually. Yeah, there was a separate list that posted about that, announced 10 sites, and I thought, okay, that's good. They're the 10 that are coming in the next few months. So that's a good little roadmap.
Sorry, I'll bring that up. I did actually have that, and I'll just bring that up now. So basically, all of these
there's
are.
a few there.
There's a few there, but the only one that's further out that's useful, I dare say, is probably Port Augusta.
Yeah.
I think most of the others are in Greater Adelaide or in the eastern part, which is fairly well serviced.
Yeah,
But
I think Cal is kind of on your side, but not that much. It's a bit south of Port Augusta.
Oh, yes. Sorry, that's right. Yes, in fact, I'll be going right past that in September.
Okay.
But I don't need to use it. But anyway, I'll use it if it's there. We haven't got timings though, do we, Chuck, on this really? They just say it's the coming months, which could mean, yeah. So I guess then it looks like someone's plugged that into PlugShare, and along with Sejuna, which is not on that list, and they've gone a bit crazy.
Yeah, I think that's I think it's a bit over the top, a bit of premature PlugShare adding by whoever did that. But
and can I just say, I don't know if you've got a superior relationship with PlugShare. In my humble opinion, I prefer to see these removed because it's misleading. Because Sejuna could happen next year, and that's not soon.
But as well as that, if you zoom in on the locations, they're just on intersections and roundabouts.
They're roundabouts. In here it's a roundabout, if I recall correctly. Yes, in Sejuna, they've literally just randomly just put the pin sort of in a roundabout. So clearly it's not the RAA that have done this. And I think that these should be removed because
I agree.
Just being misleading. I mean, you may go, oh, maybe next school holidays I can go to Sejuna and I can go to Streaky Bay and I can go to Elliston and Port Lincoln and Tumby Bay and blah, blah, blah. And I can go to Coogapedi, Roxby Downs. and you can't because they're no more coming soon than,
Birdsville.
Whatever. Birdsville, yes.
Yeah.
So
if you scroll down to Tas, you'll see there's only about 2 or 3 French icon ones there. And they're the ones that have photos. So that's my personal rule. Yeah, my personal rule is I only add them when someone has a photo. So
yes,
I know something's happening there.
Yep. And how awesome is Tas? You've only got 2 coming soon. No, 3.
If you zoom in close to Hobart, there's a few there.
There's the Northgate Shopping Centre.
Yep.
And you've got Smithton.
Yep.
Yeah, which is cool. And I'm actually going in August, going around Tassie for a few days.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So we'll have to have a play date, Chuck.
That's right.
But we've got to be on our best behaviour because I'm bringing my wife with me, my very patient wife, on a slow lap.
Actually, what dates if you want to announce it publicly, what dates in August will you be there?
I'll tell you in 2 seconds.
Just a quick question on the PlugShare app.
Yes, Steve.
There's a way to filter out coming soon charge points just to avoid that problem.
I don't think there is. Oh, there is?
Yeah, I think on the left there's a
you can turn off
show coming soon. So show coming soon. I just did that there. Yep. So if you can see there, and I just undid that, and then that actually makes South Australia look a lot more realistic, which is that's what you can use.
I think Steve was asking in the app, like the mobile app, rather than the PC version. I can't seem to find it in the mobile app.
I'll check.
Yep. I think there is a way. Where is it?
Filters. Yes, coming soon. Yeah, that's there.
Yep.
I'll just spotlight myself so that
So you can see it. My phone's not even showing up there.
show coming soon locations.
Beauty. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's on, mind you, that's on an iPhone, but I presume the Android would be basically exactly the same.
Yeah.
So you can definitely do that.
Oh, yes.
But
okay, thanks.
But yeah, so if I just go back to the screen, the difference is stark because South Australia looks like it's suddenly girt by chargers, and none of them are coming anytime soon, or most of them anyway. So that's really
I'm
the
just going to have
situation.
I'm just going to have a wee little rant because I have to. Why are they wasting so much money putting all these charges all on top of each other at Adelaide? That's just ridiculous.
So they can
Rant
boost their
over.
numbers.
Moving
Yeah, so they can say that they've installed 100 chargers and, you know, 2/3 of them are AC chargers. So, but the politicians like to see the big number. That's all they understand.
Look, the rant's going to be exactly the same when the NRMA, almost without exception or with very few exceptions, literally just copy and paste the WAEV network and others and put just another fast DC charger with Chatamo, probably, right next door to the WAEV network one and right next door to a supercharger. It's just what's going to happen. Chuck, so catching the ferry on the 26th of August overnight from Geelong, and that's a Saturday. So I guess Sunday, the 27th, Devonport to Frejene.
Oh, yeah.
And then Port Arthur to Hobart, and then Hobart to Cockle Creek, and then to Pump House Point.
Everywhere.
And then Strawn to Cradle Mountain to Stanley, and then back on the ferry. So basically,
That's all right.
yeah. So you're in Hobart, aren't you, Chuck?
I am.
So
I was going to say, I'm actually looking at the Toka events schedule for August. And I've actually got 4 events booked in Tassie for August, but the last one's on the 20th. The last one's on the 20th, so you miss out.
On the 20th. Oh yeah, right. Yes. Oh, we'll just have to slot a special one in. We'll have to do an informal one. I'd do a casual meetup.
I can do a casual one as well. Yeah.
Well, you could do an honorary Tokwa one. You are, you know, yeah, that's it.
Sounds good.
But yeah, so basically Hobart on the 28th, the night of the 28th, I presume that is 28, 29. But we're kind of flexible.
Yeah.
Well, except we got to catch the ferry.
That's a Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, enough about me. What do you think about me?
Cool.
All right. So has anyone got any other? Yes, go Chuck.
I was just going to say after all the rants, I just thought I'd post something a bit more amusing about the South Australian network. I just popped it in the chat. It should appear in a second. Just when I saw all those icons appear, this is what it looked like to me when it loads up.
Yeah, I just double clicked it. Come on, hurry up. I think I prematurely clicked it.
Like we're bridging the gap.
That is they'll always, but
it's getting closer.
There'll always be the gap there. It's all about scale, isn't it? Like, yes, very good, Chuck. Yeah. Yes. Well,
I thought I'd make
the good thing is, look, go, Chuck.
Oh, I thought I'd make that picture before I reported all those incorrect sites to PlugShare and got them taken off.
Yes. Look, and please do. I'm also happy to do it as well. But look, if you can do it and you've got a more intense relationship with PlugShare, to be brutally honest, it's just not just not appropriate. It's inaccurate and it's misleading.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just they should just stop it. Actually, I dare say a similar thing should happen to this location here in Merredin, which I actually put onto as restricted, because this is never coming back. at the BP truck stop in Meriden an ABB 20 kilowatt or 22 kilowatt charger, 24 kilowatt, sorry. It's never coming back because, you know, there's never going to be sufficient supply at the BP for it, and it's never going to get switched back on, and that pin should just be removed. I think the problem is that it's still on ChargeFox's network.
Okay, it syncs up. Yeah.
And it's just wrong. It's never going to get ever used ever again until it gets moved to somewhere else, because it's probably still got a SIM card in it.
For this is for the general public that might care to watch this stuff later. In Meriden, there's a lovely little sleepover place that it's got a lovely little chap there. His name escapes me right now.
Roy Butler.
Roy Butler, that's the one. Yeah, he's a lovely chap. He's got a lovely little place to spend the night, and I highly recommend it.
And a charge point.
And a charge point. Yeah, sorry, and a charge point. Very important.
Yes.
Very important little thing.
Spending the night with Rock.
The lodge, yeah, the Little Rock Lodge or something it's called.
Lodge at Little Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I think it might be, I don't know if it's on PlugShare.
It is on PlugShare, but it's as an accommodation only. But I'm pretty sure if you rang him and said, I'm coming through, can I slip you $5, $10, $20 to charge? I reckon he'd make you a cup of coffee and let you charge for free.
Yeah, it's the lodge at Little Rock. And
yeah, that's the one.
There's a Kona in 2020. And Roy's in the background with his sheep. I didn't see the sheep. Oh, it must be very small. Oh, yes, it's very, very small.
Sheep. Yeah, it's a lovely little place. And the other one is, if you're making that journey, I would highly recommend dropping into Kura Retreat. They are also very nice people.
Yes, they are. So Kura Retreat is just past Southern Cross, just here. Kura Retreat.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they get vandalised or something, Shane? Didn't someone break it or something?
No, Kura Retreat's still going. There's actually two there. There's three. There's a 32 amp 3-phase. There's a Tesla charger, I think, on a plug. And there's also a 20 amp single phase, I think. All in that box. It's all an honor system. And last time I was there, they actually offered that we popped in at lunchtime, and they offered us to join them for lunch, and got to give us a steak.
Yeah, sorry, man. I must be thinking of another one. I know not long ago one got vandalised through there somewhere. I'm not sure. I can't remember what it was.
That was Meriden Damo. It was vandalised by a Tesla owner who decided that he would modify it at the time so he could use it temporarily and others couldn't. But that was someone shooting through to New South Wales or Victoria, I believe.
And never coming back.
Hopefully not. So as not to be able to do what they did, but which is not cool.
But there's still nothing at Meriden. There's still nothing at Meriden now, is there?
Yes, there is. There are two chargers at Meriden. There's the destination charger, which is operational at the Central Wheatbelt Visitor Centre. So that's it. There's two of them. And you've also got the EO chargers, which is just the Type 2, which you need a Type 2. Actually, you don't. Well, you should bring a Type 2 cable. Someone's reporting oh, that's interesting. Could not activate. Have to go and check that one out. But for Teslas, it works fine at the Central Wheatbelt Visitor Centre.
Cheers,
and then at
quick question. Sorry,
yes.
on your map, you've got more than I've got on mine. Those two kind of orangey ones don't show, and rather to some of the other ones.
No, so they're restricted. So if we go into the filters, you can show show restricted locations, which is ticked. So example, there's one I don't tick, which is show residential locations, which if, oh, well, there's actually one, this will be Roy's again. Oh, it's actually the two, but if we go, say, to Perth, you don't really, there's no point showing residential because it's not intended for public use. So
well,
there's home charger.
Yeah, it was kind of the original idea of PlugShare back in 15 years ago that you would share your house if you were happy for someone to come and plug, but it's kind of a lost use of PlugShare.
Yeah, so Lance Robinson's home charger, and we don't want to dox Lance, although I mean he's on PlugShare, so I guess he's doxed himself. He actually hasn't put any comments, but by appointment. So I guess if you were really stuck and you could contact Lance and ask for a charge. But in this day and age, you just don't really have to do that anymore. So yeah, so getting back to the filters, so if we just take off residential, but you can put on or put off coming soon, and restricted.
So is restricted kind of like you can use it, but you might have to give them a ring and ask or something like that, or?
It depends. So for example, around here, some of these are restricted because they are, for example, like DBCA's Department of biodiversity, something and attractions, conservation attractions. That's a Charge Fox network that is restricted to certain cards. McCarthy Prestige, I don't even know if that's even there anymore. Some of these, the Porsche Centre Perth, it's only for, if you read the thing, it says that it's customers only.
Okay.
I guess that's Porsche customers. Some are residential places. I'm going to struggle to find one.
There's a bunch around Subi and Leaderville that are in residential buildings that have been built.
Botanical apartments. Here we go. Yeah, thanks, Ken. Yeah, so botanical apartments. These it's really restricted for.
Okay.
It's probably even behind a. It's probably behind a gate.
Yeah.
So, it's in the underground car park or whatever. So they are restricted. Is handy because, look, you might be a customer, so it might be restricted to customers or people staying in a hotel. So some of these, the Fairlanes apartments, again, if you've got an Airbnb there or whatever, you can use it. Parliament House is only if you get elected. The Crown Plaza, so that's actually in the valet section of the Crown Plaza. So that's only if you are a valet customer, I think. So restricted have a role, but what I use them for is I actually hid the Meriden charger as restricted so that less people would notice it because it's just not working. But you can't destroy it without emailing PlugShare. And then, for instance, there's some up here, 80 Mile Beach, which is what I'm going to rely on to get to Broome. The comment was, visited business, beautiful, blah, 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 but they have nil interest in allowing EVs to charge. They advise the business in process of being sold and to make a contact again in September, though there was no indication if that meant new owners were found or just hopeful. Well, as it turns out, the 80 Mile Beach Caravan Park changed hands in October, November last year, and I'm hoping that they'll be welcoming because there are no other charges. But that's rightly restricted because it's restricted to customers, so that's how you can show, like I said, without being too repetitive, you can show restricted, which could be useful if you're at a pinch or you are a customer. Show in use. So some of the data is actually live. It's not ChargeFox, but if we just go quickly to just Fast DC, if we go over to Townsville and it's on the EV network, might be that one. Yes. No. Yes. So this is an EV network, and you can see in PlugShare it actually shows the live status. So there's 2 CHAdeMO plugs available and 2 CCS. So that's another filter that you can invoke, is show in use locations. Because if you're road tripping and you're, say, a couple of 100 kilometers away from a place, it's kind of almost pointless looking what the status is now, because you won't be there for 2 hours. And because they're fast DC chargers, whoever was there is there now will definitely have left in 2 hours time. So that's another filter that you should definitely use, is make sure you have show in-use locations. And also, show locations that require payment. I mean, if you got rid of that, then it would basically show virtually nothing as far as fast DC, except for the NRMA and some of the coming soons. And there's one at Nanup. What is that? The Hilton Garden Hotel.
I'm guessing it's one of those ones added by someone who doesn't know what the plug types are, because it says it's CCS and type 2, and that's a bit of a weird combination.
Their
the Hilton Garden Hotel. No, that's the Hilton.
They've got 3 destination chargers. One of our group members posted about it on Tocquer about a month and a half ago. They charge there, and they're 3 standard 11 kilowatt destination chargers.
Yes, but if I
not
just undo
CCS2
that
as far as I'm aware.
No. So if I change that, let's just go all out. The actual correct plug is this one, the Hilton Garden in Albany, and that happens to be my car right there, charging at one of the 3 MG slots. So that point there is wrong. So again, and that's the problem with PlugShare, because it's effectively a public forum for anyone to scribble on. Anyone can lay down a pin on spec, and that's another pin we need to get removed. Anyway, so much homework. Has anyone got any other questions that aren't PlugShare related? Or if you have, doesn't matter. Or comments?
Since we're talking about charging, and somebody mentioned amp charge in the chat, I've got a newbie question. Is why do those ABB chargers rated 150 kilowatts never give you more than about 75?
That's to do with the amps, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I suspect it is.
I think they'll give 800 volt cars full speed, but not Teslas or other 400 volt, 500 volt cars. That's
how many kilowatts, Ken? 75? Did you say, or 79?
In that ballpark, below 80 certainly. Yeah.
So if we go 79,
I suspect they're current limited.
Yeah, but that's really silly, because
yes, it is.
It's only 190. Oh, they're 200 amp cables. That's what they've done.
Yeah.
They've just got to turn rant mode back on. So they've bought 200 amp rated Phoenix cables, except they can do 300 amps because of the same cables that the Kempower units use. They're air cooled. They're passively cooled. They're good for 300 amps. They're just not setting them properly.
Yeah.
They could easily set them to 300 amps, which is what the WEV network cables, the Kempowers, are set to, which is why, for example, my Performance Model Y, which has a 400 volt pack and it gets to about 401 volts, tops out at 116 kilowatts on the 150 kilowatt Kempower chargers, because the current is maxed out at 300 amps. The awesome ABB amp charge ones, they've maxed them out at 200 amps. So I don't know if you look on your app, Ken, when you charge next, it'll be maxed out. It'll just show 200 amps.
Yeah. It was a tiny bit of a Dorothy Dixer, but it's slightly frustrating because I've been using East Perth quite a lot recently because of the UWA debacle, and pretty much all the check-ins, people have been going, well, it's convenient but really slow, and why do they call it 150, and why, and it's like,
like you would say, Ken, like you would say in your IT.
Sorry,
I'll just finish this quick point. As you would say, Ken, in your IT parlance, it's all about the ping when it comes to internet speed. In charging, it's just all about the current.
All about the current.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
I was going to say, perhaps it's trying to let you know that you need to go and buy yourself a Porsche Taycan, Ken.
Richard, you know what it's saying?
I could go off on a funny story there, but I'm choosing not to. It comes back to my 5-word Audi review.
Which, by the way, I can't remember what that was, Ken. Can you please tell us again?
I really wanted to like it. I know it's 6 words, but really wanted to like it. But oh my God, it was awful.
So, Richard, what it's telling us is we should not buy a Porsche Taycan. We should buy a Cybertruck because that has an 800-volt pack.
Yeah, good point.
Well, speaking of which, Harold, when is the Cybertruck? When is my Cybertruck fitted?
3 years. 3 years from launch.
No, 2
I
weeks.
will be older.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
No, I would just, Richard, I would recommend that those that are whinging about 75 kilowatts being slow should take a trip, that gap that we were just talking about a minute ago, they should take that trip. And then
I don't think I was whinging about 75 kilowatts being slow. I was whinging about installing chargers with the wrong connectors. Because it's got a chatter mode that's never been used either.
Yeah, sorry, I was referring to the people that were making comments about 75 kilowatts being slow and why do they advertise 150? Well, yeah, deal with it. Go and deal with 3.5 kilowatts and live with that.
Or
in fact,
go with Harold up to Broome.
So that that was a charging session I did at Lantern a couple of days ago, and I arrived with 54% and charged to 97 because I was doing a couple of range tests, and notice it peaked out at 79 kilowatts, and that was the car, that was not the charger. So a little bit disappointing, to be perfectly honest, but that was the Kempower charger, and it never actually broke a sweat. So it was always offering more, but the car was happy with 79. And I think I got there with my battery at 40 degrees, and it actually heated up quite quickly. And I think it actually sort of dipped off a little bit where you see the black line intersecting the blue area as it heated up to 54 degrees. So again, like Shane would say, you don't need the 150 all the time. If I'd arrived with 10% charge, then I would have been rate limited to, in fact, I have got that screen capture. It goes up to 100 and, here we go, this is it here. Sorry, just got a spotlight. This is, I'll get a little bit closer. See how it says vehicle limits? And then before, to the left, sorry, that is the left. Sorry, yeah, I'm a bit confused. To the left, it's where it says 13 minutes. There was 13 minutes of the charger going flat out. So as the voltage went up a little bit from 35%, the power went up slightly to a peak of 116 kilowatts because it was pumping in 300 amps the whole time. And then after that, it then tapered off to when I got to 60%. So obviously, if the charger could do 400 amps, which it's capable of, if I allowed it to, I could have gotten maybe close to 150 kilowatts for the first part, which is when you really want it, before the battery gets too full. Because once you get above 50%, it starts tapering off quite markedly.
How are you getting that info, Harold? Is that because that's a Kempower app? Is that actually kind of logging into the charger, or?
The awesome thing about these chargers, I don't have a photo, but if anyone's got one, but I probably don't. If you look at the touchscreen, after you've started the charging session, I think it sort of shows two arrows, one to the left and one to the right. So say if you've got the right hand plug, you press the arrow to the right and it then shows your state of charge, and it shows like a stylized battery. I think if you touch on that, it'll bring up a QR code and you just scan it with your phone. And then that QR code refers to a fresh site on Kempower's server, which is active for several hours. Well, active for the whole charging session and for several hours after it's ended. And that's specific to your charging session. So if you stop charging and started charging again, it would give a new QR code. So that way you can monitor it. If you've got a non-Tesla that doesn't have an awesome app, you can monitor your progress live through Kempower's servers. So next time anyone is at a Kempower charger, just tap on your charging port and then just scan the QR code that shows up.
Which is mostly, I was going to say that's mostly of great use to people in other cars that don't have an app, because we can monitor our speed from the app. But any other car, yep.
That's pretty cool.
And as we know, ChargeFox has announced that they're at some time going to do a idle fee trial in Western Australia. And yeah, obviously, if you've got a non-Tesla without its awesome app, you can just use Kempower's server and keep live status of how your charging session's going. And it even actually, while you're charging, I don't have that screen, but it actually does a projection because Kempower actually profiles your car and can usually predict what make of car you have and what model just by the voltages and power levels. So you can actually do a dotted projection of how long it'll take to get to different power level states of charge. So it'll actually give you a prediction, whether it's half an hour to get to 90% or whatever. So there's no excuses of getting caught with a idle fee once that gets implemented, whenever that is.
Harold, Stanley has asked about the wipers. He says he's got a delivery of a new Model Y. Is the wiper blade jittery, skipping on the slowest speed to medium speed event, even though there is enough water in the windscreen? Advice, please.
I get that. When I use Rain-X on my car, and that then makes it, if it's fairly dry, like a little bit of water but not much, yeah, mine fully skips. Especially, when you use your wiper, and even if you just use a one push to make it just clear, it usually does 3 wipes.
Yep.
Or is that when you press the liquid button? I think it does 3 wipes and then waits about 10 seconds and then does one more wipe just to clear the last little bit. Mine skips horrendously. But I do put Rain-X on my car. So maybe, Stanley, you've got something, well, not that it's Rain-X, but maybe you've got some weird wax on your car, or, different coatings or something that might make it skip rather than being smooth. Has anyone else sort of had experience with that? Or, if you use Windex, is it more likely to do that, or?
I don't know, Harold. I picked up mine on Friday. On Sunday, with the rain forecast, I put Rain-X on, of course. And I spent most of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday driving through showers, relying on Rain-X to wash the water off. I didn't want to use the juddering wipers. That was annoying. Which also meant I didn't use cruise control.
What is Rain-X?
Your only cure is to wait or to use sexy buttons, Steve. Not that I'm endorsing it officially, but I certainly am unofficially. It does work
sexy
pretty
buttons.
well. Yeah. But to be clear, Tesla does not endorse the use of sexy buttons or any CAN bus dongle, to be clear.
And
But
what
then
is
me personally, I
Rainix?
don't. It's literally it's spelled RAIN -X, the letter
Okay.
X, and it's a special it's a special substance or compound that you rub onto your car. You just use a tissue paper, and you just sort of like rub it in. It creates like a hazy effect, which you can just use your wipers to wipe that off, or just fresh water in it. And when you pour water on it or it rains, that haziness then goes, and it's very water repellent. And when you're driving above 60 k's an hour and it's raining, the droplets just literally fly off your windscreen backwards. Well, yeah, towards the back of the car. And if you're going any faster, you've got more visibility than if you had wipers, because you don't have to put up with the wipers wiping across the screen.
Can I also add, Harold, that there are a couple of different Rain-X products. So there's one intended for plastic and one intended for glass. And also there is an additive that you can put into your windscreen wiper solution. I recommend you don't do that. I recommend that you apply it directly to the windscreen.
Yeah, absolutely. James, since you're the best producer ever, and the only one for that matter, can you please find a link just for Rain-X? I think I think Supercheap. I have bought it at Supercheap before, but the thing is, it won't cure the car doing automatic wipers. The car will still do it regardless, and sometimes at the worst times. And Rain-X won't help it. That's the thing for Rain-X. It's $22. And I think there might even be a video that may or may not be useful. Oh yeah, it actually shows you applying it. So
You obviously missed the meeting last week, man, with my rant about windscreen wipers.
No, Damo, I heard that one. I was very reluctant to raise it, actually.
let me just bring it up properly.
To repel rain, sleet, snow, ice. First, clean and thoroughly dry your windshield. For optimal application, it should be applied in temperatures above 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Spray Rain-X Original treatment onto a clean microfiber or cotton cloth. Then, apply it to the exterior glass using a circular motion. Allow the product to dry until a slight haze appears. To ensure even coverage, apply a second time. If you see a final haze, make one more pass with a dry cloth, or sprinkle water on the glass and wipe it with a paper towel until crystal clear. Once your windshield is treated, you're ready to face the elements. At lower driving speeds, you'll benefit from water beading that increases visibility and response time. At higher speeds, the water beads will roll right off the windshield, dramatically improving wet weather driving visibility. Outsmart the elements.
And actually, I don't even apply it that way. I just get the squirty bottle, and you squirt a line on half the windscreen, and just get a tissue and just go up and down movements, and then go side to side and do that a few times, so that you got more product on the windscreen, and then just hose it off. Well, with clean water. But it's not going to stop your car from doing automatic wiper behavior.
But you can turn it off.
No, yeah, as long as you're not in autopilot, Carmen. That's the thing that's so annoying for all of us at the moment, is if you engage autopilot, it automatically turns on automatic wipers, even though you've just turned it off. And you cannot turn it off. It literally, if you hit the off button, it flicks back onto auto straight away.
Oh, okay.
Which, for a lot of us in the room
Just
is
a word
really,
of caution.
really annoying.
There is just a word of caution. There is another Rain-X product. It's an additive that you can actually add to your water reservoir. I've tried that one and yeah, didn't have too much luck with it. It started making my windscreen wipers stick at the edge. But that's not the product that Harold's talking about. But yeah, James has put in the chat also just from Tesla's manual about the warning of adding additives to the water reservoir. But yeah, that exactly as it says in that manual, it started making my windscreen wipers stick to the edge.
So use only windshield washer fluid meant for automotive vehicles.
Caution down,
Yeah.
maybe. Do not add washer fluids that contain water repellent.
Ah, yes, or bug wash. Streaking, smearing, or squeaking, or other noises. And squeaking or other noises.
That was going to be my query about the rain eggs, because my wipers don't judder or anything. They're just perfectly smooth and just work normally. But I've never put anything like that on my windscreen.
Yeah, I mean, look, I only use it myself. And look, it's not perfect. Look, one thing I find there's a bit of a hassle with it is you get a lot of like blotchy. I don't know what it really is. It's probably the dried up water droplets, so they've got a bit of dust or something in them. So because when you use Rain-X, you literally don't have to use wipers, and the only time I use wipers is accidentally when the car sort of does it. You can get a dirty windscreen, for lack of a better phrase, or a dusty windscreen or something after it's rained, because not all the droplets completely go. There's all little residues left behind. So you sort of have to every now and then use the wiper. And if you use your wipers for more than a few times, it starts wearing off the Rain-X and you've got to reapply it. So it's a bit laborious. You know, I reapply it every few weeks to get it working really well. So it swings and roundabouts.
I use the wiper after I park the car in the garage just to get rid of that last little bit of water.
Yeah, that would work too. Yeah, but pick your poison. I've used it for a long time and I like it. But if you're happy with Tesla's auto wipers, well, you have to be happy if you want to use autopilot at the moment. There's nothing wrong with standard wipers. The wipers too work really well. It's just that I've just picked something different, that's all.
Sure, Harold.
Shane. Unmuted.
Sorry, slightly different topic or very different topic. My car has recently developed a whistle, and I stuck a post, like, as in I hit about 70 k's an hour ish, the high 60s, 70, and I can sort of start to hear a bit of a whistle. I get to 80 and there's a very definite whistle. 90, 100, there's a whistle. Kind of like my old Gemini was back in 1992, which is a bit disappointing. So I stuck a post on the Facebook, on the Tokwa group, and there's a few suggestions there. I've recently had the windscreen replaced, which is, you know, obviously a bit of a candidate for what might be causing it. And there was a suggestion to stick some sticky tape, sellotape, over various gaps and so forth. The original suggestion was to stick sellotape over everything and then start removing it. Well, I went the other way. I stuck sellotape on suspicious looking places and kept adding it. I've run out of sellotape and I still haven't found the whistle.
Tesla's got a really awesome stereo, so you could just turn the tunes up. If you've got a passenger, does it work
in silence?
Does it work with the windows down? The whistle?
Yeah, as soon as I take the window down, there's so much road noise and air noise from the windows. I can't really tell if the whistle's there anymore or not. It might.
What I mean is, can you get stereo effect if you have a passenger? See if you can try and localize it to what sounds louder, whether it's on the left side of the car, the right side, you know, something like that.
we did have a go at that. The passenger, I thought it was coming from like near the driver's side wing mirror. The passenger thought it was thought it was coming from towards the rear of the car more than the front of the car, but definitely from the driver's side. But then, yeah, we crack any window and there's so much road noise and wind noise at sort of 80, 90, 100 k's an hour that you can't hear the high pitched whistle anymore.
And there's nothing that's changed with your car, like you haven't hit a kangaroo or anything, or.
Oh,
No, I missed the kangaroo. I came pretty close, but I missed him. No, I did get a new windscreen, but I reckon the whistle started a good couple of weeks after the windscreen.
Well, then there's that's a hot. I'd be zoning in on where the windscreen is and any of the trims that are near the windscreen or whatever, because the alignment could be out just slightly, or maybe there was a bit of tape that came, well, whatever. I don't even know how to do windscreens. Is it that thermal stuff, or do they just use sticky mastic or whatever, something?
I didn't look underneath, but there's all rubber seals around it all. But all of that area that's where I ran into sellotape. All that's covered in sellotape at the moment, and the whistle's still there.
I'd try gaffer tape.
I'm just curious.
No, seriously, get the vinyl gaffer tape, not the proper. Get the electrical gaffer tape. You know, it's just like large size electrical tape. Because it comes off easier, and I use
buy a
30-meter roll.
I didn't want to be driving down the road looking like I'd sticky tape my car together.
That's all right, Shane. You're in the bush; no one will notice.
Shane, there was an issue a while ago with the rear doors, the rear windows slightly over closing and causing a whistle that was fixed by some people with a service request. Is there any chance it could be that? They ended up basically, you know, when the window pops back up again, when you close the doors, they slightly over popped up and it created a whistle past about 60, 70 k's an hour on the rear windows where the seal wasn't quite right because the windows popped up very slightly too high.
And that could be a calibration thing.
So if the way that you tell whether it was that or not is the fact that you very, very quickly just tap the rear windows to make them go down a millimeter or two. All it was a couple of mils, and see whether or not it was that, and then a service recalibration or something or other fixes it.
That is good information. Thank you very much for that, because I've been going the other way. I've been pulling them up, going, it's not quite closed. It's not quite closed. Okay, I'll try that and see if that fixes it.
And can you not recalibrate it yourself? I think that's one of the service options on the menu. I think there's window recalibration. James, do you know any window recalibration?
Not in the service section.
Actually, James should be renamed as ChatGPT 5 because he's. But I think you can actually I think I've seen YouTube videos of recalibrating your windows. You can do it yourself, I think.
I will give that a wally. That sounds very promising. Thank you.
Speaking of heating things, I don't know why it happened, but my electric gate shut as I was going through, and I have a little dent and scratches by the left light at the back. So who is best to show?
There's 5 panel beaters that are Tesla approved.
Mm-hmm.
I know one is Bauer no, yes, Bowra Panel and Paint.
Oh,
There's
they're in
McCarthy
Scarborough
Press.
Beach Road, aren't they?
No, they're in Osborne Park, but they're not on Scarborough Beach Road.
Oh, okay.
They're on one of the side streets. I can't remember which one, if it's Sundercombe or I can't remember exactly. There's
Bowra, okay.
McCarthy Press, yeah, Bowra Panel and Paint, McCarthy Prestige. If Pete was on,
They're a bit
he'd probably be able to
fancy.
rattle.
They're a bit
Yes,
fancy. Everything's a problem for McCarthy, I think.
I am on,
yes.
Harold. I've just got the video turned off because it's got a really bad connection.
That's cool. And Peter Ship just put up for Carmen. Peter just said 57 Guthrie Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Josh there is fantastic. Really, really good.
Okay.
But yeah, there are 5 Tesla authorized repairers. There's McCarthy Prestige.
Today I'm right here with my Tesla.
Sorry, go Pete. You were muted. You just muted yourself.
Oh, sorry. I thought someone else was talking.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. No, it was actually my fault. It was. I just had this video up that James very kindly posted in the chat, so it inadvertently it came up. Sorry about that. Go Pete.
No, that's right. Yeah, there are 5 Tesla authorized repairers at the moment. So there's McCarthy Prestige in Claremont. There's Mirage.
Oh, they're in
Belmont.
Perth,
There's Bowra in Osborne Park. Those seem to be fairly popular. J&M. Who's that? Bowra? I thought Bowra were in Osborne Park.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the Belmont one there. I found them difficult to deal with. I just left them and went somewhere else. That's when I went to Bowra. The Belmont one was very unhelpful.
And then there's J&M Smash Repairs in Malaga. And the latest one is the one in Spearwood, which is Renew, spelled RENEEW.
Too far.
They did my windscreen a few weeks ago. They seem to be specializing in just Tesla repairs. About 90% of their cars in their yard seem to be Teslas. And yeah, they seem to be doing a very good job.
Okay, I did find this video. Thanks, James. I'll just play just a little segment of it. You do have to go into service mode, but that's okay. It's easy to do. So the video is just here.
Hold model free for a few seconds, and then you release it.
You do the same if it was a Model Y. So you just press and hold on the icon. On the word Model 3 or Model Y.
You release it, you will have this image, this window here appear, and then you write service. You write the service there, and then right now enable. We are in service mode, and from service mode you can actually calibrate the windows. All you have to do is just go here, down here. I have a separate video on how to access this service mode from Tesla. If you wanna see it, check it out. It's already on the channel. Now you go to Windows. Once you are in Windows, you can see here all kind of information about left front windows, calibrate, Windows state, close, and stuff like that everywhere. And then rear defrost available, and then we have here on the left side calibrate windows. Once you press this, the car will ask you to hold the right turn signals in the active position, plus press the brake for 8 seconds. So you have to press the brake and in the same time go right, and then for 8 seconds you hold it like that. You can see in the background there, here you should put the pin, but in the background it will show you an image. Let me close this, and then you have like 90 minutes to calibrate the windows, and then it will actually close this window. So what you should do right now, and then you just calibrate windows, and then it says windows will roll up and down to calibrate. Pinch detection is disabled during the calibration. Okay, and then just run, and you wait and progress. And you can see right now the windows are go up and down in order to calibrate.
So if you want, if you got some carrots you want chopped up, just put them where the windows are opening and closing, and you can chop some carrots while you're doing it. But anyway, and then actually towards the end of the video,
I have to make sure that the rats and mice stay out of the place while we do that.
yes, don't store any cheese in your car while you're doing window calibration.
Well,
Shane.
I noticed that when you're reversing, you can wipe the screen and not have a problem. If that's useful.
Oh yeah, because the whole screen has got the reverse thing rather than using the clean screen function on the display menu.
In a service mode or
very good.
not, let me go out right now.
Oh, so and just finally, if you're in service mode, he does tell you how to get out of service mode.
It doesn't matter if you are in a service mode or not. Let me go out. Right now we are out of service mode. You just have to go to the window that has the problem.
So to get out of service mode, you just press that button.
Doesn't help you too much. It doesn't matter if
there's an exit. That there is an exit symbol to exit out of service mode. So that's how you get out. Just in case you get stuck in service mode. But yeah, there's the links in the chat. And this
excellent, thank you.
And this is courtesy of SDA Dan Cars. He's got 202,000 subscribers, just a few more than Nigel. And there you go. So Shane, that you could, I reckon you should just try that anyway, and that could just be it.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's actually really useful. Thank you.
No worries. Alrighty. So has anyone else got any other questions or comments? I mean, Tesla's share price is doing okay. Oh, go Pete. Go.
Nothing. Just in the US, white is no longer the free color. Grey now is or midnight silver is the free color now.
Oh,
that's very true, and very interesting, because but is not midnight silver. I think silver cars are quite popular in the States. So maybe Tesla's just going for what's for the most sort of popular. But now poverty pearl white is
good for people that have paid extra for it.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, in Australia, Carmen, black was the default colour.
Yes.
And then it changed to pearl white.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think was a good thing. Oh, 281.78.
That's the share price. Yes. Yes. So as we had in the news, Tesla profoundly beat the company compiled consensus figures for deliveries, and they beat it by just over 19,000 deliveries. And I think most of the analysts were quite surprised that they actually did that. And their production, they had, all-time record production and all-time record deliveries, which, I think the market's taken to very nicely.
Puts them in good stead. I think they only have to produce about 1 million cars to get to the 1.8 million by year end. The 1.8 million guidance looks like they'll smash that now. Hopefully.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was James Stevenson, who I'm just trying to find. Stevenson. He had a great graph just showing the exponential growth of Tesla's production.
The cumulative. It's on my Twitter account. I think I retweeted it. I got it.
Yeah, I've got it. If this thing will load up, there it is there. Cumulative vehicle production from inception to date So if you look at 2013, it's the smallest you can see, and that is just a classic exponential curve. And that's, yeah, pretty awesome.
But they've produced more cars in the first 2 quarters or in the first half of 23 than for the whole of the first 3 quarters of last year, which Tesla tends to do.
Yes, and James Stevenson actually has that graph somewhere. It's a animated graph where it shows, yeah, basically the first 3 quarters of the current year is more than all of the previous year, and that's happened almost every year, or something like that. And this is a good plot as well, which shows Tesla's cumulative net income since their IPO. And this is actually a little bit old. It's back in the 28th of January after the Q4 earnings call. But if you see the plot, they're just losing money, losing money, losing money, losing billions. Down to 6 billion, lost more than 6 billion. And then it kind of just changes to having a positive 16 billion. And I think that was in 1 year. That was in 2022. In all of 2022, they basically they reversed. Well,
can you put it
not
back?
much more than 12 months. Yeah. Whoops.
I'll take a photo.
So from Q4 2021, they broke even cumulatively, and by Q4 2022, they were the best part of 14 billion up.
Wow. Not bad.
And this is old news because this information is 6 months old. So that's the other piece of news too, is on the 20th of July Perth time at probably about 5 or 6 a.m. Tesla will have their Q2 earnings call. And that's only in a couple of weeks' time. I think, yeah, that's right, a couple of weeks' time. And, they'll reveal what the market is all excited about, which is, if they've got record production and deliveries, they're very likely to have record revenue. Yeah. And that's why everyone's happy. So it's all just good news, which is obviously, it's just a great time to be a Tesla shareholder. Although, of course, having said that, I've got to say this.
The previous comments were general in nature and shouldn't be taken as personal professional advice. Listeners should seek their own independent assessment from a qualified advisor and not rely on the general nature of information in this program.
Except, yeah, it's just a great time to be a Tesla shareholder. So,
Pete, what do you roller coaster ride this share price?
It is, Damo, and I think Elon Musk has even said, he keeps saying it all the time, and he warns against anyone using leverage to buy Tesla shares because they are quite volatile. I mean, look, the start of this year, they were 100, they went down to
108, I think.
Well, less than 105, like 102, 103, something like that. And now they're 280, which is great if you bought them at 105. But I forget exactly when it was. It might have been in 2021, or maybe it was sometime last year. They got up to a high of $440 at the peak. So if you had bought some at $440 a year ago, to find them go down to $100, you wouldn't be very happy. But if you bought them with your own money, without leverage, that's fine, because now they're crawling their way back up. But if you had leverage, you would have been stopped out and lost all your money. And that's what
Yes.
Elon Musk keeps warning. He goes, do not buy Tesla shares with leverage, because you won't be able to survive the volatility.
Yep.
You know, so yeah. But all of us grown-ups in this room have got Tesla shares legit, like with real money. So all we can do is, enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And there
Now,
it
actually,
is, right.
Sorry, Damo, say it again.
And that it is a ride.
It is. And like I've said before, when Tesla gets to a share price of $420.69, we'll have a what I'll call a little party. And when they get to 2 times that, which is $841.38, we'll be having a rather large party.
Wow.
Nice.
With sexy cars and all sorts of stuff. Literally sexy cars.
There isn't any more models needed to do that, is there?
Yes, there's the Semi. Well,
Oh, okay.
no. I mean, as announced, there's no more cars needed. So the S is the Model S.
Yep.
The E is the Model 3.
Yep.
The X, the Y. The C is the Cybertruck. The A is the ATV, the all-terrain vehicle that goes on the back of the Cybertruck. The R is the Roadster.
Yes.
And the S is the Semi.
Semi.
So that's sexy cars.
But they're not all available yet. So maybe concentrate on producing.
Well, I mean, I don't think that Tesla's going to get to $843.38 for another few more years, I hope, sort of. I mean, I hope, wouldn't it be lovely if it did that in 18 months? But, it's probably not going to happen. It'll be a few years. And we need the time to order.
So, Harold, speaking of the R for Roadster.
Yes.
There was on the Driven website earlier today, there was a...
Great segue, Shane.
There was an article, and I thought your credit card might cover it for me. I think it was 349 grand for a super orange Roadster.
Burnt orange?
No, it was a super orange with black on it. I thought that might be your next car on the list.
No, I'm just not into the old Roadster. I'm trying to find it. Do you know how long ago it was?
Got an upgraded battery.
It was
yesterday.
Upgraded
Battery
on.
Have you got a link to it, Shane? No.
I will just find one and stick it in the chat, shall I?
On the Driven, because I've not.
There we go. That is the link. Control C, and there you go. In the link. In the
most expensive Tesla. Oh well, I skipped over that one because it's got a Model S bonnet. That's pretty stupid. Anyway, it's $349. I mean, thousand.
It's a little
can
remote.
I please have access to your credit card, Harold? If that's $349.
I'd say tell them they're dreaming.
Very orange. Sorry, very orange.
It is pretty orange. Is it burnt orange? Not really. It's just orange.
Not. I don't know, Damo. Does that count as burnt orange?
I think it's burnt orange.
It looks pretty burnt.
Mm.
We might have lost. We might have lost Damo.
Has it got a remote with it?
No, I think they have key. I can't remember. I think you got a key or something. Not exactly sure, to be honest. I sat in Florian Pop's Roadster, or was it John Edwards's? and you literally your rear your behind is, well, put this way, when I sit in the car, I can't really, it's hard to do this the thing, but you know, if you sit and you put your arms straight down and put your hand flat, like I could put my right hand out of the driver's door with it open, put my hand down below my bottom and touch the road with my palm flat on the road.
Okay.
So, you know, you just, like, that's probably 100 millimeters off the ground is where your rear end is, basically, or maybe 150
It's very
millimeters.
similar. It's, if you want to know what it feels like, just go and sit in a Lotus Elise, because it was pretty much built on the same body, so same chassis, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really small. You got to sort of like peel yourself in and out of it, and there's nothing going for it. Like it's slow. It does 0 to 100 in 3.9 seconds or something slow, compared to even a Model 3 performance or a Model Y performance. And Model S performances or Plaid is ridiculously faster, twice as fast. Yeah, it's
the price is close to what the new Roadster would be in Australia.
Yep. Well, if you compare it to the price of a Plaid S in Australia, that was
just over 200.
220,
yes. 230, something like that. Yeah.
Which goes so much faster, is so much more comfortable, so much safer, so much more usable. The Roadster can't use the supercharger network. It doesn't even have a Type 2. It's only... Is it only AC charging, or is it, there is DC? I can't remember.
It's got DC, but it's got a unique plug.
Gotcha. So, you know, it's just like, no, not for 349. I think the person that owns it is probably trying to go on the coattails of those three Roadsters that Groman Engineering acquired in China. And the last I heard about that is the three cars as a package. The latest bid a couple of weeks ago was $2 million for the three of them. But they were literally brand new, absolutely
with
brand new.
0 kilometers on the clock.
Yeah.
Well, you'd expect that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I think some people are just getting caught up in the hype because it's sort of Tesla's original car, so there's a bit of that sentimental sort of weirdness about it. But
they were bought by a Chinese manufacturer who was going to reverse engineer them. But before they got a chance to do that, they went out of business, and they just put them into storage.
Wow.
And forgot about them.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that was an awesome segue, Shane. I actually forgot about that when you mentioned it before the start of the program, but very skillfully segued.
Anytime.
Dear.
I take
Alrighty.
that to no, then you're not putting a bid on.
No, I've had a lot of big expenses of late, so no, I'm very very cash poor.
You know
Very,
what
very
happened to the
cash-
one that was in WA? Because that was the first Tesla I ever saw, was a Roadster from somebody who used to work somewhere in Osborne Park. Red.
That'd be
original
John,
Roadster.
No, I think John's, like, I can't remember what colour John's was. I'm aware of 3 Roadsters. John bought one in, but it got bricked pretty early on and was off the road for quite a while, and then the battery pack was replaced and then he sold it. Florian Pop from Gemtech had one for a couple of years or so, but sold it a few years ago. Yes, that's right. Yes. And then there was one that's whose number plate Actually,
Simon
if I
Hackett's got
check it,
one. He's in Adelaide. He's got one. I'm not sure his is in Adelaide or in Tasmania, but he's got one.
yeah, but there's one that's got. I just got to check the number plate. I'm pretty sure it is. It's Tesla WA.
Yep.
Yeah,
it definitely had personalised plates. I'm pretty sure it was Tesla WA, and they used to park in the Health Building in Osborne Park. That's where I used to see it in the car park.
Aha. So I'll just check on.
But the red one for sale on car sales around the time I bought my car too, end of 21.
Oh, no. So Tesla WA is a Model Y. So if we check WA Tesla, there is no WA Tesla. Maybe they've changed it. Maybe they've sold it. Because you can go to DOT Direct and just do a license detail, and there is no WA Tesla, but the Tesla WA, it's a Model Y. So they might have sold it. And in fact, they got it in August, so that's one of the early deliveries. So they might have actually sold it and changed the plates over. Because they were red and white personal plates. They had red white writing on a white background, polycarbonate plate on that Roadster. So maybe it's gone. Or something like that.
But they sold it for 350 grand.
It's just makes as much sense as buying a Holden Monaro, GTS or whatever for 150 grand. Some people just do it on sentiment because it's certainly not worth it.
Speaking of which, Damo and I had a bit of a chat, or half a chat earlier on today, about the idea of taking the platform from underneath a Model 3 or a Model Y for that matter, and strapping, for example, say a Monaro cover on top of it. and putting that the magic computer box in there that lets you do burnouts and so forth. Is there anybody in Perth that has done that, like strip the cover off, strip the car to that extent so that you're left with, the computer, the battery pack, and the drivetrain?
Shane, there's many people that are doing EV conversions, taking classic or other ICE cars and converting them to EVs, but not too many people making EVs look like ICE cars for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, you take that skateboard and I take, like a Maloo Ute or something like that, and I stick it on top of it. Maybe I won't have to wait for my Cybertruck.
There's, I've got this video up. I just got to find, sorry, this website's super slow. It's titled The World's Fastest EV, Model 3.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm a new Tesla owner. Kind of. Bringing you the best of Tesla consumer advice. Now, the most asked question I get as a new Tesla owner is, how much faster can I make my Tesla if I cut the entire body off of it? And today, I've got the answer for that.
So if we skip along,
yeah, I get it. You're taking 260 kilos off. It's not really going to make much difference.
Sorry,
actually, you probably go slower. If you don't drive it like that, it's slower.
So there's, oops. So that's what you want to do, Shane. You want to take it to that level?
No, Harold, I think you've misunderstood.
But Shane, I disagree. I mean, look how awesome it is when you go to the drive-through. Hang on 2 seconds.
Oh, the days of going to a drive-through and hearing them on the microphone going, "Hey, there's a Tesla in the drive-through." Those days are gone, I'm afraid. But
yeah, but how cool would that be?
Yeah.
And you want to go to the pickup window. That's all you need to do, Shane. That's
might be slightly illegal. No, I was thinking of basically doing that and sticking a different car cover over the top, like a sleeper, I guess.
Yeah, well, you can see that's. I mean, that's probably an extreme, but that's the most you can strip off the car and still have it work.
You can get WK057 Engineering. They sell wrecked Teslas with modified computers on them, where they basically sell you the drivetrain, the high power electronics, and the battery pack. And they even do the battery pack in certain configurations, so you can have it folded in half and stuff like that. And they sell you the accelerator and the other bits and pieces. You can have it with or without a screen, so you can go and put it in anything. They sell you it as component parts.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That sounds like a lot of effort. I was thinking of taking the skateboard bit and putting something else on it, but yeah, okay.
That sounds like quite a lot of effort too, though.
Yeah, because you've got to do this. You've got to basically take it to this.
Yeah.
Which would be awfully good fun, Shane. I mean, I'd come and watch you do it. Could you not just get it wrapped in a photo of a Monaro, so it from a distance kind of looks like one?
You've seen the photo that I have with the hay bale in the boot, right? Of my car.
No. Do you have it handy so I can in the chat?
No, sorry, I don't have it handy. But yeah. I want my ute. I want my Cybertruck.
There is a modified Sylvia. I watched the Grand Tour, or I don't know what they call themselves now, Clarkson, Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May. And there was this weird car that they'd actually made about 500 of them, and they'd gotten the body of a Sylvia and they wanted to turn it into an old Mercedes carriage. Oh yeah, it just looked really weird with the old-fashioned lights and the wheel arches and the spare wheels, the whole spare wheels on the side of the car. And they basically just got a Sylvia and cut it and extended out the front wheels like by about a meter forward of where they originally were. It was called some weird model, but I just can't remember what it was. So yeah, people do it all the time, Shane. They just cut and chop and look. What'd be awesome would be a stretch limo Tesla.
Yeah. My question was, is there anyone in Perth doing something like that? So I can go and check it out. Like I can go to John's workshop. I can see how he chops apart DC chargers, something like that, but with the car. Not that you know of. Okay. That's
Not
cool.
in Perth, no. But you could be the first.
I'll see if I can find this. Well, I may well be, yeah. I'll see if I can find this photo and I'll leave you guys to it. Oops.
Oh yeah, there's a thing there. Pete's just, oh Pete, I wish you didn't do that because now you've stuffed up my thing. Anyway,
where's that, Pete?
Is it you chopping a Tesla?
It's at a shop.
Perth?
That's at one of the. Where did you take it, Pete?
I think that was in Chatswood. That one in Sydney.
Model S. It's a Model S.
Correct.
Skateboard. And they got rid of all of them.
Shane, give it 5 years or 10 years, man. That'll be a regular thing in the modified car scene. You'll see. but just not yet, I don't think. But who knows where it's going to go. So
Yeah,
you never
except there
know,
was a
5-10
fella-
years, you might just get fiberglass bodies of all different cars that just mount on top. Just you don't know.
Yeah, except that there was a fella that approached me, can he dump some bodies on my property? And I'm wondering if I can do swapsies.
Hope they're car bodies, just
I
quietly.
can't think of anyone in Perth.
Tesla bodies. Sorry, yeah, no, Tesla bodies, yeah. Tesla bodies.
Yeah, I mean, why don't you could say yes as long as they include battery packs because that's worth money.
Yeah, they're the bits that he was taking away. The battery pack and the drivetrain, all the goodies he was taking away and leaving me with the shell.
But surely you'd get that, you just recycle it. There's lots of aluminium in it. It'd be worth money as metal, as scrap.
Right. Yeah, well, it would be, but they're straight panels and stuff, so he didn't want to toss them. So it makes sense that he wants to store them until people have bent a few more Teslas, and then he can flog them as actual parts. And so that's all good. I was wanting to use one as a bus shelter for the kids on the corner of the property, and he wasn't so keen on that idea because he thought the kids might trash them. So yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, there's lots of folks around here have antique farm machinery down their driveway as a bit of a thing. I could have a row of broken Teslas.
Yeah. In fact, you see, I think it's at the Madura Pass Oasis motel or service station at Madura Pass on the Nullarbor. They actually have quite a few old cars parked there, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, no Teslas though.
Not yet, but in 50 years or 80 years, there could be Teslas there because every old bomb used to be a showroom stunner when it was first built.
Once upon a time.
Yep, and Teslas will go the same way, and rightly so. They will be, and because they're made of aluminium, most of it's aluminium. It's not going to rust like all the other cars. So it'll look really interesting.
It will.
In the fullness of time. And what could be cool is you could actually attach your house's inverters to the battery pack and just leave it there, so the battery could still be active.
And it can still, maybe you can program it to sing the Tesla song as people drive past.
Yeah, if electronics keeps lasting, yeah, that's right. You could. Or you could just convert it to buggy racer, like just use it for video games as a full size car video game. Anyway, I think we've now plumbed the depths of.
I think we digress. I can't find that photo of the hay bale, but there we go. Found it. There we go.
Oh, I was just going to do the wrap up.
You can do that.
No. If you got the photo, I'll put it up. I'll post it up.
Yeah, I got to work out how to get it on a computer.
Then we can say goodnight. Actually, I should have done this earlier because no one ever listens at the end of the program, except for those that are clever and get the juicy bits. We'll be having a casual meetup on Wednesday the 19th. So that's in the evening. So there'll be in lieu of an Ask Us Anything. A regular.
Won't you be in Broome, Harold?
That's why I'm doing it then, so that then I don't have to do an Ask Us Anything. In fact, I won't be in Broome because I'll only be in Broome for an hour before I go back to 80 Mile Beach. So I'll be back at 80 Mile Beach on Wednesday night, 80 Mile Beach Caravan Park. So just to alleviate the hassles of that and as I've said before, I've got a very hard limit of I've got to be back in Perth by Friday night at the latest. I just won't do an Ask Us Anything then, and we'll just do our regular bi-monthly Wednesday casual meetup on the 19th.
Where?
That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked, Carmen. I'm open to suggestions. So for anyone that's still awake watching on YouTube, can you please put your suggestions in the comments below?
Okay.
Because I'm sort of running out of ideas. But it's somewhere where there's some decent parking, and a venue that's large enough to handle maybe 30 people or so, at short notice. Or well, it's casual, so you never really know who's going to turn up or how many. But that's for Wednesday, the 19th of July.
There's a photo there, Harold. Took me a while, sorry.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, Shane, that's a great way of getting hay in your car.
You could fit 2 in if you tried.
Model Y, you could probably fit 4. Oh,
probably
3.
Notice
Probably.
the tie
To
down
put the
straps
seats-
on the side there because EVs can't tow.
Yeah, very good. Very good. So that's a tie down. Oh, yeah, there. Yeah, right. Yep, gotcha. Very good.
That thing's
that's
a bloody farm truck, Shane. It's not a car.
What's that?
Yeah,
Sorry?
that's a,
I said that thing's a farm truck. It's not a car.
It's good enough.
and look at the
It's
look at
still
the
a car,
state.
it's
Look at
gotta
the
do
state
car
of this. How's the struts?
Wow.
It's just,
Look at the-
it's just gravel dust, mate. It's just gravel dust. All good.
Yeah, it'll buff out. It's all good. Oh, dearie me. What a
Hey, at
classic.
least
So
you did
anyway, my car's developed a whistle of late.
not just keeping it clean every week, you're using it and enjoying it, man.
It's a car. It's got to do car things.
That's right. It's not an oil painting. Alrighty. Pete, if you're back on the line, how would you take out an awesome show? I guess like this one.
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Go Tesla, go Tesla share price. Go this brand new quarter, which is going to be even more awesome than the last one. And I look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Right, all.
Thanks, guys. See ya.